Welcome back to Antimedia. That's Ryan, my nephew.
That's Joel, my uncle.
He's a millennial,
Yep. And Joel's a boomer.
and down there is my son Dylan, also a millennial.
Yeah.
Last, last
He's a real millennial.
What's
through
a,
that.
what's a real millennial?
I, I'm kind of barely a millennial. I'm almost Gen X.
Well, I'm last of the boomers. So,
And you're last of the boomers. So
Plus, I embrace all the stereotypes.
oh, very good,
Mm.
excellent.
Me as well.
Well, sorry to hurt your feelings. Okay, so today, make premieres great again. Canadian content, just in case the new Bill C10
Bill C10, yeah.
yeah ruins our ability to actually share things. So we're
Don't
gonna
hurt
do some
us.
Canadian content today. Make premieres great again, and
Yeah. Please approve of us, CRTC.
yes, we love you, CRTC,
Mm-hmm.
You guys rock.
Canadian Radio and Telecommunications.
Corporation.
Why would they be called a corporation? They're
I'm not sure. I don't know if it is corporation. I just
All right.
commission.
So
Commission.
Ryan's got a little news article for us here. Angus Reid says that Premier's performance, Ford and Kenney's popularity and political fortunes bear brunt of pandemic management.
Yes.
And here's the little chart of how they are doing popularity-wise throughout.
Yes, we got the wonderful democratic, not a horrible person at all, Francois Legault, at 66% approval rating.
How in the world is he doing that?
Well, they also, in the same breath, you can poll the people of Quebec and whether or not they supported curfews, because somehow when you're French, COVID only affects you after 9 p.m. So there's 71% approval in their province
Of the curfews.
for curfews.
Really? Wow. And
He's keeping them safe.
And don't forget that was the last place where we had martial law ever declared was in Quebec, the FLQ crisis, which caused all kinds of problems. So interesting.
Yes.
So Legault is in first. Horgan in BC is second.
Yeah.
Fury in Newfoundland. Scott Moe is at 61%, and Dylan in my province.
Yeah.
Higgs in New Brunswick. Rankin in Nova Scotia. And then all of a sudden we see a precipitous drop. Well, they didn't do everybody. They only did.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So if you go from the left there, 66%, he's basically a tyrant. Then you got NDP. I think NDP, Saskatchewan Party, NDP or Liberal, NDP or Liberal, and then Conservative, and they're all tanking.
And yeah, the New Brunswick guys is. I thought he was conservative. I could be wrong. Okay.
Maybe.
So
he is.
going back to Legault, or however you say his name,
Francois Legault.
so could his results be so positive mainly because people are scared that if they give him negative results, they'll be punished?
That's right.
Like, is that,
Yeah, the best thing to do is
Maybe?
be negative, right? You want to be negative this time around.
they don't want to have to go to bed earlier. So
Politics in Quebec is a giant mess, and
Oh.
I barely understand it, and I speak French.
Okay, British Columbia was. I mean, we lived there for many years, Dylan and I, and it's crazy too. Like,
Yep.
the social.
Well, I always tell people it was great to grow up there, but I'm glad I don't live there. Like as a kid, I don't care. I don't have to shovel. I don't have to worry about when I get my driver's license yet. At that time, so it was great.
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't have to shovel? Yeah, you didn't have to shovel. In Kitimat, we had 18 feet of snow. Yeah, okay. But the Social Credit Party, that was the only province. Alberta started the Social Credit Party, but BC was the only one that actually had it elected, I believe.
I think in BC, yes. And then there was a little bit of social credit in Saskatchewan.
Was Ernest Manning in Alberta? Was he Social Credit? I think he was. So there, I take that back. Social Credit was Ernest Manning.
Yeah, they actually got elected here.
And now in BC, you have the Liberal Party, which is actually conservative-ish.
Yes.
And the
Yes, their conservative party is called the Liberal Party.
And the NDPs are actually the Green Party. So, anyways.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do you think? Why are the numbers for the conservative guys so low? By the way, every single premier in the country who was doing daily press briefings a year ago had their ratings go up. Every single one of them, except Jason Kenney. He did daily press briefings, and his popularity went down. Trudeau also did them. His popularity went up. Trump also did them. His popularity went up. But Jason Kenney just kept going down. And it's been just going down steadily over the last year.
So I'm curious how these polls are done, like more specifically, because I've never done a poll. I feel like I've at least personally, I have never got the chance to do that. So my vote's not in that rating on Scott Moe. I hopefully would have brought it down at least 1%. Would have been nice.
Yeah,
but
if they only phoned 100 people, yeah.
Yeah, but I also feel like liberals have a problem with conservatives pushing their ideas. And I think Ford and Kenney are doing a lot of liberal ideas, but being under the flag of conservatives. But yeah. I think they have a really bad inner conflict with that, and it drives them crazy. They don't understand why. And I read a comment on one of Doug Ford's posts because for some reason I follow him on Twitter, and I get notified whenever he posts because it's very interesting seeing a conservative talk that says the things he does. And some of the comments on his tweets that he does is like, I literally read one that said, Ford, I think you're doing the right thing in this situation, but I just don't like you. Like, get out. And I'm just like, what more do you want in a politician? Like, what do you like?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So in Alberta, it's a little easier to explain, and I think for Doug Ford and Pallister, it's probably the same. So the issue is most of their conservative voters are pretty anti-lockdown.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? Especially in Alberta, which is why Jason Kenney's popularity has been bad for months and months and months, if not most of the year. Is because there was a poll done recently, and it's like 25% of people think there should be less lockdowns, and 20% of people think there should be no lockdowns at all in Alberta.
So actually,
right? It was like the highest rate in the whole country by a long shot.
Looking at your chart here, he actually got a 1% bump from the daily press conferences for about a month, then just kept dropping after that. So,
yeah, but you also have to understand that if anybody voted NDP, so that's what 30. I'm just going to scroll down on my screen here.
32%, something like that. Oh, you want to know the vote?
So the parties, it'll show us the split.
Oh yeah,
here.
Well, their voting intent at the moment is 41%.
41%. Now the interesting thing is 41%. They're 100% an urban.
It's all Edmonton.
It's all Edmonton and a little bit of Calgary,
yeah.
Right? Which means all the rural ridings, like the Conservative Party should get, with the exception of, we decided to institute an independence party in Alberta, and they have now stolen 20% of the.
So now, United Conservatives are down to 30%. Wild Rose Independence Party is 20%. The Alberta Party,
which I was a very large fan of the Alberta Party for a while. So the Alberta Party would be, they were our actual centrist party.
Okay.
But then Greg Clark, the leader, left to take a job in government. And
really?
Well, like not in government as in like he's on a commission in Calgary or something. Okay, all right. Like I think it's like a regional commission or something. He was a great leader. He was awesome. They were very centrist, and so they managed to not be woke,
right,
and not be uber conservative. So I really liked them. And then they kind of just decided, hey, let's just be like the NDP at the last election. So I bailed on them pretty hard. So
that'll do it. All right.
Yeah.
Brian Pallister is been all over the map in Manitoba. Started at 45, dipped all the way in December. Oh, this is already going back to 2017, so that's not really fair. So beginning of 2020, he was at 43%. His press conferences got him up to 47%.
47.
And then he dropped down to 33. And yeah, no one really likes him right now in Manitoba.
And I would assume that's the same thing. So I would assume that, let's say there's a 50, almost, well, yeah, if you look down 2 slides lower, it's almost a 50-50 split, right? 42-39 between the parties. Those 42% are not voting for him whatsoever. So they're not going to approve of him.
Yeah, the New Democrats will never approve of a conservative, correct? Yeah.
No, that's not a thing. And then if he lost almost half of his own voters, they might not have a party to go to, so their decided voter count might not exist because there's no other conservative party to vote for.
Yeah.
But
see, and that's partially, which tells you that his rating is even worse than it looks, right?
Yeah.
He even at 39% between the Liberals and NDPs, they could easily wipe them off the map. Having said that, Saskatchewan is got no legitimate third party. We don't have anything close to a third party. And so the Saskatchewan party is still at 57%, but there's the Buffalo Party, which is a little bit separatist. But yeah, there's no third party. There's really no third party in Saskatchewan. And so, but the Conservatives know that if the NDP were in charge, things would be way worse. So they still have to stick with the Saskatchewan party. But people are not happy, but they have nowhere to turn. So
they've nowhere to,
yeah.
And Alberta has a really long history of let's just create new parties.
Well, that's true.
That's kind of what Alberta does. Like we do it federally too. That's how we ended up with the Reform
Party was in Alberta. Social Credit Party was in Alberta, as I mentioned. Yeah.
It's like, we don't like what you're doing anymore. So we're just going to take our toys home and play our own game.
Yeah.
So we have a really bad habit of doing that, which is making the United Conservative Party in Alberta drop in the polls. Like the Wild Rose Independence Party doesn't even have an elected leader. They have 20% of the vote.
And they have no party leader.
It's only existed for like a year, right? Like,
and who was? Wow. And what was the name of the party that joined with the United Conservatives? It was that
was the Wild Rose Party.
Okay, Wild Rose Party. Okay.
Yeah.
So back to Saskatchewan for a second. Scott Moe was at 65% as the lockdown started. He's down to 61. He's wavered a little bit.
That's not bad.
It's only 4% drop.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people that also now, there's probably a lot of anti-lockdown people that are finally just being like, yeah, you know what? I approve of him because I just feel so beat down now. And at least he's opening things up. And I think they're like, I'll take what I can get. You know, if he opens things up, even though he has his quotas to meet for vaccines and stuff like that, whatever, at this point, I don't even care anymore. He's doing what I want him to do. Eventually here, I know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe that's just why he's getting decent approvals. Like, because as I feel like people actually truly still hate him. Well, there's a lot of people that are not happy, but whatever, you know, if he lets them be free, maybe that's why he can do so good in approval ratings.
Well, I equate it to being the person who beats his wife the least in a week. So that's,
yeah, exactly. Right.
He's still the best option because
yeah.
All right.
No, that's the interesting thing too in Alberta. I think we at this moment we really only have one option because if we let them split the vote again,
well, I mean everybody knows.
Hold your tongue and
if Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Alberta were NDP, that we would be probably still living in our basements and bomb shelters by now.
Actually, I have something to say about that. You know what's weird is BC, with the exception of their rules
for churches
on churches and a couple things, at certain points this winter they were way more open than Alberta.
Well, but they also had way less cases and deaths too. So
yes,
the numbers actually were in their favor for quite a bit of the time. What was I was trying to look for Ontario. Let's talk about Ontario for a split second. Remember the bump I told you about when they started doing press conferences every day about the pandemic? Mm-hmm. He went from 31% to 69% in 2 months.
Wow.
He doubled his popularity in 2 months. And he's still down to 35 now. He's still not as low as he was before the pandemic started. So what do you think?
Yeah, he's more popular now.
So why wouldn't he be pushing the pandemic? Because that got him all kinds of votes. So yeah. So let's look at the chart here. 37% conservative, 33% NDP, 22% liberal. Again, for same as Manitoba, conservatives can be wiped off the map with a 5% swing.
Yes,
because the other two parties are more left, and can easily just wipe them right off the map. So,
I guess it's a good thing that there is both a liberal and an NDP party.
Well, for Ontario, if you're a conservative, yeah. So there we have it. So,
there's your Canadian provincial politics update.
That's right. So need to make premiers great again. So they all got a bump when they started doing their press conferences. They're all dropping slowly, except Francois Legault, which is just amazing.
He's awesome, and you should see like the size of the protests in Montreal.
And they've had the biggest protest by far, hundreds of thousands of people in Montreal by far.
Yeah, but you also have to remember that like there's lots of protests in Montreal. Like it's kind of a French thing. Like
Definitely.
if you look at Paris, like the city of Paris,
Nah.
like gets burnt down every couple of weeks, right? For one reason or another, or the farmers are coming in and dumping manure all over the place.
This week in anti-Frenchness. Where's my gonna need the logo
Yeah.
for that one? Okay.
So
No,
if the people in Quebec go crazy, can they have another French Revolution? Is that, I know it's not in France, but like
Oh yeah, no, they'll have a revolution. No, they've been actually relatively stable since even
it's fun to call it that though,
ever
right?
since the war.
yeah, yes. So there we go.
There you have it. So people are still worried about the coronavirus as a whole, but there are some provinces that their main concern is the economy, which again is 100% related. And that's Saskatchewan. The number one concern is the economy. And then coronavirus is tied for second. So 61%, 63%, 61%. So, anyways, weird. All right, that's it. Well, that was
That's
it.
it, that's
Big
all.
Premier's great again.
Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna put the logo up front so we can all. All right, peace out.
Well, do I have to do this?
Is that racist now? I don't know.
It probably is.
What can you do that's not racist? This.
Don't do this.
Oh yeah, please don't do that. Okay, bye.